I'm actually going to focus my talk on Chinooks and rainbows and just briefly mention Cohos. First, I want to acknowledge the co-authors. Much of the data I'm showing is not data that I was involved with collecting. Some of it is, but first, to focus on Chinook salmon, there's two FCOs specific to Chinook salmon, these being maintain a Chinook fishery. One of the indicators is maintaining or increasing angler catch rates, which I've already talked about. And another FCO is maintaining predator-prey balance. And both of these have the same indicator of maintaining or increasing growth rates and condition of Chinook salmon relative to 2007. So first, what we're going to look at is the average weight of age 3 Chinook salmon. The blue line is that weight in the month of August in our boat fishery that we see in the angler harvest. And the green lines are showing you the average weight of age 3s returning to the Salmon River Fish Hatchery. They're lighter weight than what we see in the lake because they've cut back on feeding and they've had quite a long trip to get up to the Salmon River Fish Hatchery, a few miles, so they're a bit lighter. But overall, the trends are the same. And we see in 2014, our weight is above that 07 level, but it's down from where we had been at. And if you look at growth and condition of age 2 fish, we in recent years have been at record high levels. And here looking at average weight of age 3s in recent years, higher levels than what we're seeing in 2014. And when you compare that to the long-term average, we're below average in 2014. So partly attributed to we've had, again, some unusual temperature patterns in 2014, colder waters, but as Jim mentioned with the walleye, he saw a decrease in walleye condition, showed a nice relationship between life condition and walleye condition. Brian Weidel also mentioned the reduced life condition, so that may be coming into play here. To look at predicted weight of a 36-inch or the condition of Chinook salmon, again, the blue line being data collected in the month of August versus Salmon River data collected in October. There we are at 2007, which was the lowest on record. 2014, yes, we're above that. However, again, we're below the long-term average. For the lake data, we're roughly 2 pounds lower than we were at that peak we saw back in 2010. So, yes, we are above. So overall, we're meeting our indicator there, but another FCO that uses the same indicator is maintaining predator-prey balance. And as Tim was mentioning, we need to link lower trophic levels to prey fish. Brian Weidel was mentioning also got to consider predators and prey fish. So fish managers, of course, need to consider other components of the ecosystem. Chinook's our top predator. All of our trout and salmon are eaten primarily alewife out there. But when you look at the diet studies that have been done, for Chinook in particular, nearly 100% of the diet is alewife. And as Brian Weidel mentioned, adult abundance of alewife is stable, condition is down, and yearling alewife lower level in 2014 than what we'd seen in recent years. And I guess my point is we do need to consider other components than just the average weight and condition, although that's kind of taking into account some of these changes that we are seeing in the ecosystem. For rainbow trout, the FCO 2.5, one of the indicators is maintaining or increasing angler catch rates, which I've already spoken to. The other indicator is maintaining or increasing population recruitment and growth of adults in select tributaries, these being Salmon River and the Ganaraska River, so I'll be showing data for those data sets. And one thing to point out is for this data, it was collected in spring of 2014, so it does not necessarily reflect, well, it doesn't reflect any ecosystem impacts that might have occurred during 2014. And I'll also briefly touch on a thiamine deficiency issue with our steelhead in the Salmon River. So for Ganaraska River return data for rainbow trout as an index of abundance, there's observed run size and an estimated run size, and 2014 is similar to what we've seen in recent years, and that is higher than what was observed in the earlier portion of the 2000s. So overall, we're maintaining or increasing the population size of rainbow trout, and the angler survey data for the lake and also reports from the tributary creel suggest that, yeah, the rainbow trout population may be higher than what was occurring in the earlier portion of the 2000s. This is the condition of rainbows returning to the Ganaraska River. They didn't collect biological information in 2014, but I did want to show it. We see similar trend information in the Salmon River returns. This is what I reported on last year, where yes, we're continuing for Ganaraska returns, maintaining condition. And for the Salmon River, we look at average weight of H3 rainbows returning to the hatchery, and in 2014 we're at levels similar to what we've been seeing. So we do seem to be maintaining growth and condition of rainbow trout, but again, this is spring of 2014, so it'll be interesting to see what the condition of these rainbows are at the Ganaraska and the average weighted H3 in the Salmon River hatchery next spring, considering we've seen a decrease in condition of some of our other trout and salmon species in 2014. So to move on to a thiamine deficiency issue that was first reported in the Salmon River in November of 2014. Anglers reported seeing distressed steelhead swimming erratically, kind of similar to what was reported on cohos from Lake Michigan in the 1990s. The Salmon River is our biggest run of rainbow trout. It's relatively shallow and there's a lot of effort. Some of our previous tributary creel surveys indicated that as many as 1 million angler hours are spent fishing the Salmon River alone. So there's a lot of people out there to see these fish. For some of the other tributaries, they're smaller, there's less effort, there's smaller runs. So there were a few reports at tributaries other than the Salmon River, but this is where we saw the bulk of this issue. And as Mike was talking about, Ontario did have an angler survey tributary creel going on, and they interviewed a lot of people, really didn't get any reports of this. But since there was concern that it may have been a thiamine issue, fish were collected and taken to the USGS Wellsboro lab, and for normal thiamine levels, the normal range would be right around here. For those Salmon River fish that were brought, the Salmon River steelhead that were brought down to Wellsboro, the levels of thiamine in the muscle tissue was considerably lower, well below the normal range. And there's some additional evidence suggesting it's a thiamine issue. Fish were sent to Cornell for disease screening to possibly rule that out, and there were no significant findings in terms of the disease results, and they also found evidence of reduced thiamine levels in the liver and damage to the brain tissue. So the thought is this may be due partly to, at least in part to, the reduced condition of the L-way, possibly having more thiaminase. But we do plan to, hopefully in 2015, conduct a Lake Ontario food web thiamine study where we'll be getting samples from several different species of fish. So overall, for Chinook salmon, again, we are maintaining at or above 2007 levels in terms of growth and condition. For rainbow trout, up through spring 14 anyway, looked quite good as far as Salmon River hatchery returns and Ganaraska River returns. I did mention coho salmon because, again, they're a relatively minor component of the fishery, and the only FCO that we have specific to cohos, the indicator is maintaining or increasing angler catch rates, and that we have been doing in recent years. So with that, I'll take questions.